finding ways inside my head. Lost and out of focus, I can hear a word you say. 'Cause I don't care about your game, I just wanted you to see me. Thought that you should know I'm already sold, so never let me go. You already had a
Welcome to the final game of pool play in the women's edition. We have Pool A game here. Spicy Chili versus Kaos out from Perth. Two teams very dear to my heart. This is Avril Tam here, joined by Blair Munro.
Good afternoon, Avril. Such a pleasure to be here. I mean, I can see from your face how excited you are about this clash.
Yeah, I'm certainly a little bit puffed after that dance warm-up. A big shot goes up. Kabai in the air, gets up over Kanucci. Waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Slee now, a little jump across. She makes it work on the doorstep and goes to Kabai on the fat side. And that, ooh, with a bubble, but a definitive clean hold for Spicy Chili to get started.
Yeah, really, really good to see the way that all developed. Some nice early connections, managing to chip away at the length of the field despite some pretty good defensive pressure there. But just recognizing that far front corner and putting a disc up out into plenty of space. Beautiful work.
Jules Kapai is an absolute star. She will be heading off to Spain playing for the under-24s Blue Bottles, the mixed Australian team, but her and Tori Slee. Sarah Lee, actually a local from Adelaide, just moved across to Melbourne this season. Jules just manages to bobble that one. Probably spent it before she received it, but controls the disc and a nice clean hold for Spicy Chili to get started.
So We'll just get a bit of an adjustment to our score. It is currently Spicy Chili up by 1 for the final game.
So having a look at Spicy Chili's roster, we have Tash Langston, who's also an under-24s representative, alongside Jules Kabai and, of course, Nicole Kara. They've got some stars missing, though. Michaela Dunmore, Keita Yoshida, and Kiyomi Notori, all having done ACLs between last and this season. So some big losses for Spicy Chili, but also big opportunities for some of the other players to step up.
And that's really one of the things. It's looking for those kind of silver linings to the clouds. Can we see other players fill in those roles that are vacant by injuries?
So offside called by Kaos, which means they start at the brick mark. We work it up quickly up to Steph Marsh. She's going to shoot Jen Woods in the receiver space. Another efficient clean hold to get started for Kaos.
And that's just how it's done, folks. I mean, one of my favorite things in competitive Ultimate, particularly when we're looking at a high-level tournament like this one, when you've got a situation where a team comes out early, a nice 1, 2, 3 pass offense, putting shots up, and the team who comes out on offense just answers the same way. It's really, really good to see that, hey, I'm not afraid of your style of play. We can bring it just as much as you can.
And that was the two captains combining. Nikki Ma stepping up in a captain role this season for the first time. Jen Woods, having been a long-time captain, leading the charge for Kaos. Their connection working beautifully. No hesitation on that position, steps from her defender. So Spicy Chili, they're going to have to put some work into getting on top of Jen Woods and Ma. As we see the Kaos roster here, the two captains there combining. We've also got two pairs of sisters, so Nikki Ma and Steph Ma, as well as Sarah Brereton and Rebecca Brereton. And we've also got Nana Kanuchi, who's here from Japan for a second season with Kaos. Chile, Kaos, and Tokyo Mavericks combining together at a training camp in March and playing Dream Cup together. So long shot goes up. Ahashi versus Kanuchi, Tokyo Mavericks teammates, but Kanuchi is the one that comes down with it.
Nice clean work there on the defense.
So this is the first break opportunity. Kanuchi fakes. Up line by Frank Pitters offered. She has to jink, but that one is a little too far in front. So Vasquez now to pick up. Big mark of Brereton. She gets past, squeezes it up the sideline to Wong. Continues up through to Ahashi. That one is too far out the back.
A great line for both the cut and the throw on that one. Just even releasing a little earlier or giving it just sort of 90% power from that output would have seen a beautiful score for Chile there.
It's always tough to throw in that very narrow channel. You don't have a lot of margin for error.
Yeah.
And I like this matchup, Vasquez on Brereton. Two very speedy and high jumping ones, and a lovely angle here caught by our gimbal camera operator. I think that might be CC putting in the hard yards. So second opportunity here for Kaos to break. Yong, Brereton makes the initial movement. Kanuchi the second, but Yong goes the long option, but read well by Bradley with an intercept. Oh, and heat by Robson there on Vasquez. Moving up to Maka. Vasquez now a little 7 cut to get open. And just telling everyone to settle down. Oh, she somehow releases that when she didn't want to. So straight into the face of Robson. Kaos with an opportunity here. Lin shoots a long shot. Brereton, Vasquez, Kanuchi all in the race, but Vasquez comes up with it. And there's a travel called.
Yep, the brakes didn't come on quite as quick as the steering wheel went, so a little reset at the start of the defensive zone for Chile.
Forced to swing it across. Cutter's very far away. They're going to have to come through, and that switching causes Ahashi to get completely open in that front space, and she goes an aggressive long shot to Bradley. And there's Wong on the left, but she doesn't like the look. Tells her to clear. And then slices one through to Cherry. And that was a couple of turns either way, but Spicy Chili eventually get the hold.
Yeah, some really, really nice offense on display from both of these teams. Most of the errors that we've seen, they've been, I mean, I want to say unforced errors. So it's really good to see how precise the offense is as a general rule. It'll be really, really good. I think the thing that's going to break this game open is going to be which team starts to pour it on defense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both sides playing very aggressive offense, both looking for those long options. We know that they've all got, well, both sides have good receivers there. Vasquez here, just like, just unfortunate there. Wanted to release it, holstered it, but didn't grip the disc enough to stop rotation again. And Bradley there just gets steps ahead of Robson. Eventually using that very narrow window, but Chile taking a book out of the Tokyo Mavericks, really working on those inside shots this season. And that one proving to be very fruitful.
Yeah. Cherry managing to hit that opening on the back shoulder of the defense too was just a really, really nice little cut. That timing, seeing when the head of the defense is turned the wrong way.
So big floaty pull goes up from Nick Wong. Jill 2 picks it up from the grass. Carpenter now, they work it to the far side to Main. So marked by Wong, but Main steps through, but the pressure from the Wong mark manages to force that disc to the ground. Chance for Spicy to break now. Up to Kabai, big backhand fake. Wide mark by Woods. Goes up the backhand, she's searching for Langson, but that one is overthrown and Main makes amends for that earlier throwaway. But there is a foul called on the throat. So Kabai and Woods will have a chat. And pretty early accepted hand signals here. So Kabai and Langston playing together for a long time out from Deakin University and also on the Blue Bottles together. So Woods adjusting her mark to try and take away the initial look. She does well, and the dump mark is also very intense by Carpenter. Lee now. Moving across, looking for that upline cut, but a nice defensive switch by Kaos. Now Tori, another Adelaide local. She whips a backhand crossfield, looking for Kara, and that is a break for Spicy Chili to go up 3-1.
Huge momentum shift early on in the game. This is where those breaks are so crucial to get. We've seen a couple of games throughout the course of this tournament and in previous tournaments, Division 2 last week, of course, and also when ULTI.TV came over to New Zealand to cover their Division 1 and Division 2 championships. A lot of times those games start early with just a string of runs, so unbroken offensive holds. The earlier a break can be put on, it really sets the tone for the game.
Yeah, certainly a win for Spicy Chili going up the first break of this game. Always good to get your noses in front, and psychologically also a nice little buffer. And Kara there just beating to the cone. That said, that was a breakthrough that Tori Battersby put up, so a nice connection there, Tori to Kara.
Really nice little sequence here. We'll see if they can do it again. A huge defensive play from Chile now is going to make a massive difference. As you mentioned, the sort of psychological element can be really, really easy, even for a D1 team, even for a developed team, to get a little bit heads down once that momentum swings too far in favour of your opposition.
So Sophie Farnan goes up with a big pull. That's a nice float here. Carpenter to receive. Oh, and that is the first throw turnover. Slips through the fingers of O'Callaghan. Short field now. Takahashi to Farnan.
This is exactly what Chile were hoping to happen this early in the game.
Phillips goes up line. Elects for the sideways dump to Takahashi. And now holding this for a little while, but that is read very well indeed by Nikki Ma. Comes through with the 1 through D. So Chaos earn possession back. Woods with the undercut. She's marked by Michelle Phillips. And that is Ma. She goes a big option. Why not? We've got Main with fantastic separation just before the end zone line now. She has to wait for everyone to catch up. No mark to speak of, so plenty of time. And Elliott puts her hands up. She doesn't see her. Now the mark set. All the way back to Chen. So calling for a stack. Everyone's very far away. O'Callaghan makes that upline cut. And she wants a breakside. Woods there. Well done to Kaos. That is a nice sliding hold after losing possession on that first pass.
One of my favorite things about that entire possession there was getting the disc right in front of the end zone and early engagement with that reset option. Yes, there was no pressure on the mark, so you could eat up a few seconds, you could hopefully see if something developed, but once that pressure came on, it was that immediate, hey, I'm going to give up 10 meters here, but we're going to have a much better angle. You can see it here, how that sets up with just that much more room for us to have that 1-2 nice continuation to the back of that near side cone.
Yeah, you saw Michelle Phillips hanging out in that open side space trying to poach, but that meant there was some space out the back there, and she also had another option the break side. You see Nikki Ma might be just outside the vision on this angle, but they had plenty of options, Kaos. So when they've got a short field, they do well to punch it in. And Woods already up with 2 goals for Kaos. Jen Woods, she told me that she was a bit disappointed that she didn't do so well in the previous game that I called for her, so I told her that she had to play really well today.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like, yes, there's something to be said about sort of players putting pressure on themselves, but I think if we put pressure on them, it's fine.
Big pull goes up by Sarah Brereton. Nicole Long to receive. 1-2 with a Hashi. And Sammy Stein here with a flat mark, trying to deter those long options. So Chile have to go sideways, but they do well with the small space. Spicy Chile do like this quick movement. Again, Ahashi drives up line, and she goes a big shot to Vasquez. But Canucci somehow gets that Vasquez. The disc falls into a lap.
I think everyone in the downfield got a hand on that at some point. What a play. I mean, a really, really well-weighted throw. You could see the way that it sailed just over the fingertips.
And you can see Spicy Chile. We've got a lot of young players. The group of 19-year-olds there, Vasquez, alongside Mahanti. And Spicy, they really like this small ball. They're not afraid to kind of run and gun and use their legs, but Ahashi, a premium thrower here. That one gets through. I think Slabbit manages to get a hand and maybe a little bit of assist to Vasquez there. Maybe tipped it over so Canucci couldn't actually get an intercept.
Just like they drew it up. You can see the way that this throw comes out, like, quite low. So one of the things that I think is super important to recognize here, with regards to the general height discrepancy in the open division as opposed to the women's division, you might see those same shots in an open game come out really, really high. So just really, really precise work here by Chile to put that one away, which is beautiful to see.
So that pull looks to be out of bounds. Accidentally touched by one of the spectators on the sideline, but we'll forgive him.
It's almost like we have 3-meter lines on either side of the field for a reason.
Are they saying that maybe it wouldn't have gone out if the spectator hadn't touched it? Let's have a look. Could it have come back in?
I mean, they're too close to the sideline anyway. They shouldn't be there. It's a little bit disappointing.
So getting some guidance from the game advisors. We've got Aiden Turner there, helping to clarify the rules around interference. But difficult to know what that disc would have done if untouched. Either way, it looks like both teams have agreed to take it from the big mark.
It's a pretty amicable resolution. I'm not unhappy about that at all.
Ma with a nice one-handed grab, puts the paw up. Fakes are big, fakes Langson out. Settles back to O'Callaghan. 2 provides an upline option, looked off, and it's getting cloggy here. 2 somehow ends up with a disc in hand. They're making progress, but it's slow. And a bid there by Kabai. O'Callaghan and 2 just working together to maintain possession. Tarka now gets involved. Punches it on the inside there through to Elliott. Fakes one off a big one. This one's a little floaty with the insider angle. Tarka gets hands on it, but that disc, too much opportunity for the defensive pressure.
No call too, which is really, really great to see that. Just immediate mental switch. Hey, we're on defense now.
Miller with the disc. Doesn't like the first option. Engages the dump. That one is also high, but Battersby brings it down. And this one is targeting Kabai, but the sideline's probably going to beat her. She tries to jump and swipe to no avail. So very loud sideline by Spicy Chili here on defense. Oh, getting nice and up close and personal with the cameras.
Love the attempt.
2, close sideline. Lots of faking, lots of jinking. Kabai again with the bid on O'Callaghan, but comes up with his steady hands. Oh, and a beautiful inside shot through to Main on that break side. And a nice continue. O'Callaghan now in red zone. And the Chile defenders kind of poachy at the moment, but goes through, finding a narrow channel through to Main. So that was Main to O'Callaghan to Main. Kaos, stay in touch.
From the angle on our monitor at the moment, I could have sworn that was going to be a throwaway. Didn't see it until right towards the end when Main peeled out from the left-hand side of your screen to manage to recover that one. A beautiful, beautiful finish there by Kaos.
In fact, that was Kaos's break back now. So the scoreboard now just updated for you is 4-all. And we are back on serve. So I like some looks here. We actually had O'Callaghan with that first inside backhand to a narrow channel to Main. Main does exactly the same thing to O'Callaghan. And then repeat, copy and paste there. Control-C, Control-V. Main up to the task. So as I mentioned earlier, both Kaos and Spicy players having gone together on a trip to Japan in March to play Dream Cup and also a training camp and Tomodachi invite with the Tokyo Mavericks. So the players knowing each other very well. Plenty of camaraderie across the two teams. And perhaps taking some inspiration from those inside throws that the Japanese players are so good at.
Just really, really good disc control from a lot of the sort of Japanese sides.
Ahashi works hard, but manages to get that inside break channel and slab it now with the continuation here. Vasquez closing in on another score here and a high release shot. Both Wong and Sherry, I'm glad they communicated that one together. They make quick work of a quick hold.
That could have gone the other way. Could have gone a little messy. So really, really good work from both of those downfielders. Making that recognition, hey, a little bit of communication. Beautiful high release shot to open that up.
So correction on the score, just trying to get some updates going, but we have settled in. It is 3-5, Spicy up 1 break. So Kaos on offense now. 2 moves it up to Chen. Sticking with the split stack that they've been favouring the last couple of seasons. Taka now with a long shot, looking for Main. She's got to beat the sideline and Michelle Phillips. Unable to combat both. Lewis Shell on that far sideline. Has a couple of fakes, but moves it up to Lowry. And Yao there, but that one is an overthrow. So Kaos will get a short field. You can see Taka already sprinting up ahead. O'Callaghan shoots through to 2. Short one to Ma. And another inside backhand, but that one is too far away for Taka to control. Bit of a messy game, Blair. Turns both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? One of the things that we've noticed over the past couple of days of the tournament, the wind starts to pick up in the later stages of the day. We're at the 4th game of our schedule, 4th game of pool play that's going to finish things off for the day. That same thing, it's a little cool. The wind is a little choppy in some places. It's about that dialing in that precision. I mean, we're seeing some really nice throws.
And somehow that disc bounces off O'Callaghan's shins, so Kaos will get another bite here. So just having to work it through the handlers, the connection downfield, not quite working so well, but Main comes to the rescue, continues up to Woods. Nice play stops. It's a bit stop-start at the moment for both offenses. None really able to generate a lot of float. Chen, the lefty handler, that one just skids away from O'Callaghan. I mean, the wind's not particularly strong at the moment, so I'd expect a little better completion rate from these two teams. The throwing skills are usually better than this. But Lowry with the disc now. She goes a high release bladey backhand. That one is also turfed.
You have to wonder to what extent fatigue is starting to set in. It has been a long day. Over the course of our pools, I think it's been 2 games yesterday, 3 games today for both of these teams. It's a lot of energy expenditure to have given up.
Yeah, and both teams coming off really tight games as well, which we'll cover a bit later. But that is, bobble there for Taka, uncharacteristic, and that is turnover number 7 for this point. So Mish Phillips goes up to Yao, tracks that one over her head, and through the middle to Van, incomplete. 2 just wants to get the disc out of here. Ma's got the legs. No, she doesn't. Just frantic at the moment from both sides. Just want to end the point quickly, but I think you just got to holster and take a breath.
Yeah, one of the maxims I always like to think about is less haste, more speed. When the pressure starts to build and the errors and whatnot start creeping in, it's really, really easy for it to just be a string of connected mistakes. So it's going to be about the mental toughness of which team can just dial it in and keep it tight for this possession, put this point away, and just move on to the next one.
So 2 now, upline to Chen. And that, again, just little execution catching errors. As you said, the fatigue really setting in, affecting both sides' offenses. It's just a game of throw and catch. Keep it simple. But Lowry now goes a big option. Ma in the space. So is Lewis Shell. Lewis Shell comes up trumps on that one. No one in front. Moves with Farnan, a 1-2. Surely they can work it out. And Farnan with the goal from Lewis Shell. So a long point, 11 turnovers. Spicy Chili come up with their second break.
A necessary one to widen the score a little bit. We've got a game to 15 here, folks. That means we'll take a halftime break once the first team reaches 8 points. Spicy Chili now only 2 points away from that one.
And that is Sophie Farnan, originally hailing from Ireland. She spent the past 12 months in New Zealand, actually, playing for Christchurch Cannons, coming across the ditch to Australia earlier this year and setting things nicely with Spicy Chili. And Lewis Shell, this is her Div 1 debut. She played with Zesty Chili, their Div 2 team last season, and was a very solid handler and spirit captain. So good to see Lewis Shell now at this level.
Love that give go, that quick centering pass and then immediately hitting the next throw in motion. Really, really good to see. It's a great way to take advantage when the defense is a little bit out of position.
Yeah, as we see a timeout called, no surprises. Spicy Chili now up 2 breaks. And we talked about the fatigue, so some close games for both teams.
So looking at Kaos at the moment, yesterday's performances, we saw 2 pretty significant wins on Universe over Manly Marlins and GWS Blaze. This morning, the 2 games, and it's a bit of a peril for Kaos as well. They had 2 games in the first 2 rounds. They then took a break. Now, again, very, very close losses to some really, really highly seeded teams. Factory Flash beating them by 2. Ellipsis Ampersand taking them to a 15-10 finish.
And on the flip side, let's have a look at the statistics from the game. So as we said, Spicy Chili up 2 breaks, but plenty of turnovers from both sides. Just the 2 clean holds apiece. So it seems like it's either very clean or very dirty at the moment. It might be a matter of who can really clean up the trash. Can Chaos cause a chaotic mess here for Chile?
With 2 breaks so far, Spicy Chili's defense have shown that they can get it done. So they're going to send out another defensive line, really hoping to pour the pressure on. Hopefully Chaos can make a couple of adjustments, start to eliminate some of those unnecessary errors from their play. They've got the foot speed, they've got the throwing skill. They've just got to make sure those connections are coming through.
Yeah, and Sarah Lee will be looking up a huge pool. She's also a very successful disc golfer, and she will be heading to the World Beach Championships with the women's team later this year. Chen picking up Takes a while, but eventually gets it to Carpenter. A long option to Elliott. Doesn't have to break stride, but goes for a layout to secure it. Woods already in this place, can see that 7 cut evolve. Gets steps ahead of Kabai, but that one is too far out in front.
A little bit of a stumble towards the end of that cut as well, maybe slowed it down.
Yeah, legs are certainly feeling weary. 3 games a day is tough when you're playing at this intensity, at this level.
1 game a day is tough when you're playing at this level.
And I do wonder, the 2 universe points that Kaos had to, really work for yesterday, is that catching up with them now? So flat mark by 2, trying to prevent the long options. Wong gets up high to secure that one. Jane Wong with the disc. Upline sneaky to Sarah Lee. She goes the inside out. That's a lovely shaped backhand. Kara now. Battersby calling from it from the far sideline. She obliges. Battersby looking for again. Chile not minding having to squeeze it through these narrow channels. And slips that disc under the arms of Elliott. Slee with a great grab. Outstretched hands. Things come to a stop again. Battersby with a nice strike up line. The 2 South Australians combined, but that one not to be.
Some really, really good handler movement on display from Chile as well. You mentioned before, Avril, how it's a lot of sort of stop-start movement at the moment. We're starting to see Chile pick up that flow that's going to help them break away in this game.
Looks to be a call. Travel call, perhaps, on Chen's initial throw. So we were saying that the afternoon wind can really blow up, but there's literally no wind at all at the moment, Blair.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to be wrong. We'll see what kind of impact it has. I mean, hopefully it'll give good conditions to allow these teams to make the necessary adjustments to start seeing the connections that have taken them to Div 1.
So Main goes up to grab that one, but in power position, but no one deep. Everyone is just so condensed in this half of the field. Woods eventually offers a long shot. That's a leading pass to Main. Surely she shoots to Woods. She does. Is that one going to stay in? Plenty of float. And Jen tries her best to keep her toes in, but that was well out the back. I do like that matchup of Kabai and Woods, though. 2 very athletic players. They can both get up high for grabs. Well-spirited from Woods to say, yep, definitely out of bounds. So as I said, Sarah Lee here will be very used to these Adelaide conditions. Hometown return for her. As I said, she's a very avid disc golfer as well, so she's got some pinpoint throws, and so does Battersby here. This one's got some float, looking for Kara, but eventually Jane Wong comes down with it. Kabai now. Got to wait for everyone to arrive. Teammate in Miller now, pointing, gesturing. She wants that open side. Pops it up the top. Battersby there.
Beautiful finish. Set up really well as well. That initial long option that really started to stretch the field. You could see that it came in a little bit high, caught a little bit of air, and was slowing down. I did not think that it was going to make it towards its intended receiver. So great work by the other Chile downfield, really pushing aggressively to provide that additional option. One of the perils of something like disc watching, if you're just watching the disc flow through the air, you can see it falling back down. You think, I should probably be there for that.
Fantastic efforts here by Elliott. Full extension there. Lays out to make sure of it. And Sarah Lee here, just that strike up line by Battersby. That one gone begging. In the end, they do work it out. Lots of turns again, so a bit of a messy first half, really. But the significance of this game is, not to be understated. In Pool A in the women's division, at the moment, it is Ampersand up on top. Spicy Chili are 3-1, ahead of Factory Flash 2-2 and Kaos 2-2 as well. So, if Kaos win this game, that means there will be a 3-way tie with 3 teams on 3-2, and we'll have to go and count back. If Spicy win this game and they go up 4-1, they will be the clear second in that pool. So a lot here at stake and a lot to fight for both teams. So Spicy Chili up 7-3 as we get close to finishing the first half. fun and with a pull. O'Callaghan. So Brereton has moved across to the offensive line alongside Rebecca Brereton. She's got this all day, every day.
Running right out of her hat to close that one down. Kaos back within 3.
That was a sorely needed offensive hold and a 2-pass hold to boot. So making some adjustments on their lines, recognizing, hey, we've got to try and peg some points back, you know, get an efficient hold and then try and work hard on D. So Brereton and Brereton usually on the Kaos D line coming across with instant impact.
And it's a necessary thing, as you said, Avril. Like, they're down by a few points at the moment. They were down by 4, they're now down by 3. But it's that quick 1-2 punch. Can we put something nice on the board? Can we give Spicy Chili something else they now have to think about? And when you do have that situation where you have players who are typically D-line players moving across the offensive line, can be really useful. Now, as you pointed out, Avril, we're looking at the Pool A standings. So, Ellipsis, Ampersand, Chili at the moment. We've got Kaos, GWS Blaze, the Marlins, and Factory.
So this image is a little out of date. This is actually after day 1 standings. But like we said, some interesting changes on day 2 because Factory Flash, they had to play the higher seeded teams earlier. So we'd expect them to get up against Manly Marlins and GWS Blaze. And so quite a lot of shift between day 1 and day 2 with the teams. As we said, if Kaos can get a win here against Spicy Chili, it'll be a 3-way tie for that second spot. We know that the top 4 in the pool will go through to the quarters, but where you finish determines who your opponents will be with the crossover.
And when it comes down to things like point differential or common opponents, can be really, really scrappy. And a single point in a game already played could make the difference between a straight run to the finals or an absolute slog of a last 2 days for this tournament.
Absolutely. So Spicy Chili now working things up, using the width of the field through Vasquez. Few pivots, but Kaos do well to hold the disc up now. Oh, and a close bid by Selena Tam. McInerney now, the lefty. Goes for an away shot to Bradley, but that one is just over the fingers.
Kaos with a chance now.
This is what they were looking for. So Yong moving up to Sarah Brereton. She shoots. She's looking for Selena Tam. She is almost at the end zone. Just waiting for her teammates to arrive. Serena Ho working hard now. Up line. And Kaos, they peg a break back. We have a game on our hands. Huge play there. Despite the great layout defense attempt from Chile, not going to be enough, and Kaos pull it back to within 2. That is the first break for Kaos, and they are definitely excited about that one. Selena Tam, this is her rookie season with Kaos and Div 1. Very happy to get a beautiful receive. This beautiful deep huck by Brereton. And then Serena Ho working hard, saying, hold on, let me set up this cut. Nice communication. Recognised that the defender in Vasquez had just turned her head, and at that moment picked that it was the time to go, and go she did. And honestly, that's what it comes down to. It really is fractions of a second in any given possession that make all of the difference. One of the biggest things that an offender, a really skilled offensive player, particularly when they're in the downfield, they're looking for that moment when the defense's head is in the wrong direction. The moment you can get the defense, and the defense wants to be doing that. They want to keep an eye on the disc. They want to know where the throw's coming from so they can adjust as they need to. But it's those little moments where they look away and lose sight of their offensive counterpart. That's when offense makes for a big break. So Brereton, this is her 3rd consecutive point on the field. Is this the way that Kaos are going to turn the tide? Lee up to Miller. Points. Doesn't like what she sees. Goes for the swing to Battersby. Lee working hard, but she goes above her head. Kabai, but Brereton in the space forces Kabai to go earlier than she wanted. That's what defense is for. Skilled defensive players that throw off the timing of the offense, and that's what leads to turnovers. So O'Day now moves it up to Young. Kaos on the doorstep. That is a high bladey shot. Somehow Canucci comes down with that disc. Used to face to catch it. And behind to Brereton, surely they'll set up an end zone play. Frank Pitt here working with Brereton. Kabai leaving nothing to the imagination. Going for everything. Frank Pitt now. Oh, she's looking for Brereton. That one, she has to turn around and use a one-hander, but slips off the hand, so not quite the height or the shape that Frankfurt was looking for there.
No, really, really good pressure by Kaos to generate that turn and work it back the other way. If they apply that same pressure here, they might be able to get the disc back without giving up too much of the yardage that they earned on that last possession.
And just a little jump across to Miller. She's now trapped on this sideline. Has to use this very narrow channel to Langston. Pivots. O'Connor putting plenty of pressure on this mark. And now that's a high, another bladey shot, but Lee snaffles that one down. And then she's got a few open plays, but a bit of a hand block there. I think maybe Yong caught a piece of that disc.
Just a fraction of a finger. A tiny touch is going to be enough to give it back to Kaos.
So this is critical for Kaos to stay in this half. Oh, and Sarah Lee, way to get horizontal. And the cheers from the sideline. Some spectacular plays by players on both sides. Yong here with a big shot goes up. Robson, but Slee.
Just enough of a touch. Beautiful work.
Chest height as well. And now a big shot for Spicy Chili. That one also goes begging. So everyone needing to take a big breath now, myself included. Just really frantic at the moment for both sides. Both will be looking for a bit more offensive control. Even with the holds, they haven't been super convincing. So moving up, Yong goes up to Canucci, acres of space, but an overthrow. I think maybe game one of this day that might have come off, but day 3, not so much.
Yeah, it's just you can hardly see it, but there's no denying the impact that the fatigue and the tiredness and the exertion so far has on slowing these players down.
So Chile now with a real opportunity. Kabai beckoning for the players to come closer. Working a 1-2 with Battersby. A few fakes, there's no one on the mark. Opting for the switches, but in the end, Langston to Battersby. Spicy Chili take the first half.
Beautiful work by Chile there, up by 3. And they'll be starting the second half on defense. So Kaos have a chance here when they come back. They'll start with the disc. They'll be able to really pour on the same pressure we've seen. But they're down by 3 at the moment. They know what kind of adjustments they want to make. It's going to be just a fantastic second half. As close as this first half has been, the second half is where it's going to happen.
For sure. And looking at the stats, we said it's been really messy without too much wind. So I'm not sure if the conditions are going to change a bit later. But looking at the holds, so only 3 clean holds for Spicy Chili and 2 for Kaos. So, you know, defenses are getting a look in. It's about who really can convert it. See some of these highlights. Spicy Chili very happy to small ball, keep the disc moving, inspired by some of the Japanese and the Colombian players who have been coming across to their club the last couple of seasons. So Kaos with their spirits up, showing that they've got some dance moves as well. And make sure you stay tuned because we are in for an exciting second half. Spicy Chili up 8-5. We are back in for the second half in the last game of the women's division in pool play. And looking at the opposite pool in the women's division, some unexpected results perhaps, Blair.
Yeah, I mean, Ellipsis Ampersand currently sitting third in the standings, 3-2. Huge upset that we actually had earlier when we had Ellipsis Ampersand and the Manly Mavericks on our other stream game. Now, unfortunately, the spoilers for that one are going to be thrown off for you. Sorry, asterisk. Spoiler alert, but head on over to YouTube, upgrade your membership, go on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV, check that game out. What a ripper it was, putting Mavericks top of the pool, 5-0, undefeated in pool play. What a performance.
I mean, we knew that the top two spots in that pool were going to be tight. Manly have been having an absolute beast of a season. They got up over Asterix, but I don't know that many people expected for Rogue to beat Asterix as well in the game slot just prior. So, you know, Asterix now having to work from the third place in the division, in their pool. If Spicy Chili take out this game, it will be a Melbourne quarterfinal, Asterix versus Spicy Chili.
Honestly, and what more could the people of Melbourne want? What more could you at home want as we rip into the second half of that game? Hopefully, we'll see whether or not that prediction comes true, but it all depends on how Chili and Kaos match up against each other in the second half of this game.
So Taka getting involved. She is a real power player. I think she will be getting more involved in this second half as time progresses and hopefully getting Kaos closer on the scoreboard. But Kaos happy to move it between the handlers side to side at the moment. Ma now goes up line. A foul called, quickly accepted by Slabbit. Tapped back in, fakes a long backhand. Does throw a long backhand, targeting Main in a very narrow channel. Main just canters through for a score.
And a necessary first possession for Kaos. So not only does it bring them back within two, but it demonstrates that they're not going to be rattled by having given up the first half.
That is only Kaos's second clean hold. So they're going to be looking for a few more of these ones this half so that they can really get their D-line on, get them fighting hard to claim one of these breaks back.
I love this here as well. That big fake to shift the defense. And then as soon as the defense adapts and closes that back in, you've left the channel for the throw that you bit on in the previous one. It's just really, really good thinking from the Kaos offense there.
Yeah, Chile have been using a narrow channel well. Kaos say, well, we can too. Let's get this show on the road.
Beautiful find. Good work by Main to close that one out.
And we talked about the fatigue of the 3-game days, but also the fatigue with the travel coming out all the way from the west certainly adds a little extra.
Don't I know it, just what kind of impact travel has on an individual's well-being. It's taken a couple of days to adjust, and we're going to see the same thing here from Kaos from Western Australia.
Brereton up with the pull. Settles to the grass for Lee to pick up. Now in the central handler space. Can see the poach off in the open side by O'Connor here. Forces him to go sideways to Lee. This one is a nice high blading flick to Kabai. Little shot to Miller. Power position continuation. Langston in front of Lynn.
From clean hold to clean hold as Chile hold on to their lead. Answering a great opening to the second half by Kaos with a response of their own. Just fantastic work to keep them 3 ahead.
Yeah, Miller, Langston, Kabai, all coming out from Deakin University, so they've been playing together a long time. The connection is working out well in this game.
It's this fake here as well. Look at what response that got, how much of an opening that left for that cross cut to come in.
Yeah, I think Kaos will have to get that matchup right here. Lynn, one of the rookies for Kaos this season. Langston, one of the top receivers for Chile. They've done well to dampen an impact so far, but they'll need to do that again if they're going to try and peg back this score.
Just a laser show from Miller to put that one away. Beautiful work.
So a couple of Spicy Chili members in Miller, Battersby and Lee will all be suiting up for the Platypi, the women's team at Beach Worlds. So they're getting their game time and connections together during this club season too. And that's a high floating pool, a little short though. Very close to the brick mark.
Great work by the Chile defense to apply pressure early, though, not letting them get any easy long passes to start with.
Finds Elliott. Carpenter with a dump back, gives a nod, says, yes, I want that space, but defense on the ball, closing that one up. But Taka up through the middle to Woods. Happy to move it sideways. But I like these aggressive shots through the cup. This zone a little loose for Kaos. Spicy Chili trying to force Kaos to throw lots of passes, but they're quite happy to do so. So as it evolves, Woods with a great grab between two defenders. Takashima really big on the mark, waving her hands and legs, as does White. And a nice little work through that cup. Now they use the width of the field, opens things up for Ma to go a long shot. Jen Woods v. Mish Phillips had a second attempt, but the line beats her.
Yeah, just a huge read as well to be able to pressure that deep one. The front part of the zone didn't seem to be doing a huge amount of work in arresting the development of that Kaos play, but forcing that long shot and having a great defender there to close that one out was a good move by Chile.
Takashima moves the disc up, but Carpenter says, not this time. It is my disc. She grabs it and goes to Taka. She's going to have to go, and she does. Doesn't even need to lay out on the end zone line. Can they work out the space? A lot of bodies in the way. Retreats backwards to 2. Van now on the mark. And a nice, lovely wide pivot. Exquisite balance there. Continue. Just a dump swing score. Boring Frisbee, but it works out for Kaos.
Hey, that's what the fundamentals are for, Avril. They're there to put you on the board, right? It's the big dynamic, explosive plays, the huge flying layouts and whatnot. They will generate terms and clutch moments, but you cannot do anything with those without that safe, consistent, precise ultimate that we just saw.
Yeah, Carpenter there, who managed to get that layout D. Pretty pleased and somewhat relieved there. I think it was intelligent for her to get things moving quickly as well. That dump behind to 2 from Taka. And you can see just waiting for those cuts to evolve, but that beautiful wide step, working those quads there.
Such a good throw to get that one open for Kaos.
I think Kaos can really use their, disc skills a bit better. We've seen them kind of opt for that open side shot, but in some earlier points, we saw a couple of those really lovely inside backhand breaks. So if they can really get that disc on the break side, that flow is going to be really nice and get them a couple back.
And it'll be a big departure from the early stages of the game, which did feel very, very stop-start.
Ahashi to receive the pull, moves it up to McInerney. So Kaos still opting for a match defense here. And stall count's rising now, has to go for a bailout effort, but Wong manages to snaffle that one ahead of Burton. She goes an aggressive shot to Vasquez, but not enough paddock there to make up ground.
Oh, what a throw as well. The heat on that one. That was coming out quick.
So Lynn with the duties of picking up the disc. Lynn alongside 4 other rookies to Kaos, which is quite a big turnover for a Perth club that has had a very stable roster for the last 5 or so years. Often only adding 1 or 2 rookies to the roster. Oh, but squeezes that one through to Kanucci. And Tam now having an impact. So Kanucci fakes a big, gets Vasquez. She thought it was gone. Frank Pitt in the backspace. Now they work with the width. Yong watching the disc come into her hands, making sure the catch is secure. Robson getting involved. Kanucci gets a little shot. Very convincing fakes. Sells all the defense. Robson again offering an under. And she goes a big shot. That one is too far. Too zippy for Kanucci.
Great movement by Kanucci to just get that initial jab step and then the separation, fold it up, but throw had a bit much sauce on it.
So Kaos still unable to convert these breaks. Can Frank Pitt get there? Cherry arrives first, picks it off, and she goes a big long option. Mahanti in acres of space, an inside out angle, red ahead of Robson. very happy score there for Spicy Chili.
Shattering the double-digit barrier for the first time. What an achievement in this game to 15. Huge put by Cherry. Just what a throw.
Here we go. Picks it up in the air ahead of some defensive pressure from Frank Pitt. And the cherry on top, a beautiful score to Mahanti. So Mahanti, also one of the rookies for Spicy Chili this year. So rookie on rookie. And Keita Mahanti wins out. And Mahanti, having had last season off, very unfortunate with an ACL injury. She came back to play the under-20s for Terra women's team, and then now transitioned up to Division 1, recovered well and truly from an ACL. So really good to see Ankita out on the park. So Kaos, they are getting the opportunities, but they're just not able to convert.
It's the little things right at the end, the closure of a point that makes everything. That's the difference between Chile and Kaos at the moment.
Yeah, it's just Chile, they're taking the opportunities, and Kaos, not so much. Plenty of heat on D from against Elliott. Work it up that close sideline to Taka, and now to Woods. V Kabai. Woods has the read, but Kabai has the reach.
That was a beautiful block off the back foot, falling backwards away, getting a big hand up. Nice to see Kaos try that same thing. I mean, we just had that big connection from Cherry to put Chile onto 10. We see that same kind of throw coming out, but it's defended well.
So Taka, nice flat mark to prevent the long option. Works a swing across to and there's some contact as Battersby was running through Elliott. Play will stop.
And it raises the question as to whether or not I think that cut was bailed out of because of the contact.
So Spicy Chili, as we see, Keita Yoshida, Mickey Dunmore, the coaching staff looking on. Looks like there will be an injury sub, so Elliott coming off. It looks like Battersby will be staying on. And Nikki Ma looking like it's a turnover stands. Yeah, it looks like the play will stand. They didn't think it affected the previous throw.
So this is exactly what Kaos need.
Got to take these opportunities. There's not going to be that many left. So Chen now, centre field. She's looking for the dump, but doesn't quite get there. Can she get the throw around? She does to O'Callaghan on a high stall count. So again, the handler's just staying back here. Connection with the cutters just not quite happening consistently. And Ma fakes the big. Battersby in the way. Has to retreat backwards. So Kaos just opting to dump and swing. I would really like to see some forward momentum from the back handlers. They're just happy to hang back and continue throwing, but I think Kaos need to be a bit more aggressive, and that shot is better. Woods finds Ma in the corner. Can she get there?
No, the heartbreak. I mean, it's exactly as you say, Avril. There were quite a few cuts from that handler space that it was an offload and then a sort of push to the far sideline, which was in alignment with the force.
Oh, fantastic angle here from Michael Chen, our cam operator.
Heartbreak, and Chile an opportunity to maybe swing back the other way, bring it back to a 4-point lead.
Can Kaos summon an energy for an early turnover? They keep creating these opportunities, but just aren't able to take advantage. Shooting themselves in the foot, really. And there with a single-hander. So Kaos do generate a second short field option in this point.
It's only about 10 meters out from the end zone. 1-2 passes should be enough. And we've seen what kind of puts Kaos are willing to attempt in a clutch situation like this. There's one.
So nice jinking movement by Ma to get open under. She did a zigzag cut. Main there, but Miller gets in the way.
Absolutely forced. That didn't have to happen that way.
Using a very small channel. Battersby now in power position. Kabai's always going to come down with that disc. Jane Wong working hard, but opts to go backwards to Langston. Kabai, I'm sure, will be the target again. Instead, looking for Miller, but tight dump defense by Main. Fakes a big. Settles for the under option. No, she doesn't like the look of that either. Making Battersby work, but asking a bit too much.
Yeah, coming in a little early. Looks like a call has been made on the field.
So it's an accepted foul on the throw, so the disc will go back to Miller. Spicy with a short field this time.
I was going to say that's not the kind of caliber of throws that we've seen from Miller for it to peel over so early. So it makes sense that there was some interference from the defense.
Yeah, flat mark by Main to prevent the long options. And she goes an arcing blade across. There's a couple of defenders in the space. Enough there to deter any connection. Jill 2 now. It's been a very long point. 6 turnovers in total.
Oh, nearly with the Callahan attempt.
It's a great bid by Jane Wong. That one is an overthrow. Goodbye, gobbles that one up. Kaos having to scramble on defense again. 2 also with a bid.
Can she hit the continuation?
Kara now. Doorstep. Goes back. Kabai stands. Makes an undercut, but a nice little poach there by Ma. And Miller, oh, that scuba did not mean to come out in that direction.
You could see there Miller pointing, no, that was for you, I promise.
Knocks Jane Wong on the head as well for her trouble. So Jill 2 with a timeout. Very sensible, although not the best field position. But as we said, Kaos, they are generating the opportunities. They just need to keep the disc in hand when they get the possession.
Yeah, it's being 90% of the way towards success. And then something slips, whether it's pressure, whether it's focus, whether it's fatigue. Just a phenomenal play from both of these teams. A really, really good call by Kaos to take the time out there. As you mentioned, though, Avril, it is a rough position for them to be in. They've got a full field ahead. The benefit is they do get the opportunity to set up their full offensive structure before Spicy Chili's defense can figure out where they want to set up. But considering what the conditions are like, considering what Spicy Chili have seen from Kaos so far, they might be in a good position to set up something a bit more organized, a zone structure or something similar, to really amp up the pressure on Kaos. Oh, what a throw on that one. Nice and high. Bladey forehand turning over a little early. Great work in the downfield, though, to try and provide that extra cover if it's there.
So just had a quick listen in to the huddle there. Lee Baker, very experienced coach for Kaos, urging his players to keep the frantic energy a bit lower, just keep the energy steady, but the effort up high still. So recognizing that there is a lot of mess here, but to trust each other, hit each other on the chest, make sure they try and secure this opportunity. So having all 64 meters to work with. Oh, that one's a little too spicy.
I was just about to say the statistics on midpoint timeouts being taken is not great. And we see it here, a turnover and an immediate snapback by Chile to give themselves a 4-point lead.
Yeah, Langston to goodbye. We talked about that connection, paying dividends. Very disappointed there for Kaos. That is Spicy Chili's 4th break. There hasn't been a break point since half, but again, they nudge ahead. So to Langston, and just when you start the disc, start the point off after a quick turn, no way defense can make up the ground. And so Chile, they weren't seeded particularly high for this tournament, given their 9th place finish last year. So certainly in terms of pool play, performing above what people perhaps were expecting. Also with, as we mentioned, a loss of some top tier players, those ACLs And Danielle Flores not being available this year. Big change in the rosters, but like we said, new generation of stars coming through the Melbourne scene. A lot of them really committed and loyal to this Chile program. Taka with the disc. And an inside look. Beautiful shot to Carpenter. She goes a long option with ease, and Brereton is overthrown. Might be a bit of chat on that one. There's going to be a bit of chat about the contact here. Brereton on Vasquez. Game advisor Nate Hess there, ready on standby should the players want some perspective or rules clarification. And I'm not surprised, both Breretons here on this line. They are trying to will their team back into this game. So they do go to the game advisor's perspective, as we know, non-binding. Players can choose to accept their advice or not. Greatest. Gallant effort there by Juge. So Vasquez now. Doesn't like the first couple looks. Goes for a wide shot to Wong. Nicole Wong, far sideline. Punches up line, but O'Callaghan gets hands and a block ahead of Slabbit. Kaos with another opportunity for a hold. Crucial if they are to stay in touch. Chen. First look not on. A lot of bodies on that open side with Chile clogging up the space, so she has to go to the deep space, but Jen Woods gets ahead. That one floats out the side. Vasquez runs up. She wants to get things moving quickly. Chile likes to have their so-called electric starts. Working out dividends, and Vasquez goes a big option. It is Chen versus Cherry. Chen blindsided, but tries to get in front of Slabbit. Not this time. Spicy Chile, they pull ahead.
That was a great finish. I mean, a long point. Couple of turnovers there. Swinging backwards and forwards. Great work by Vasquez to open that one up, I think, in particular. Hitting around the halfway mark. Nice, wide open Cherry. Having a great read on that disc, too. Great work by the Kaos defense as well to immediately switch off. Cherry's no longer the threat. Slabbit's the problem. And it's that, like, quick adjustment. Great to see, but not going to be enough. A one-on-one in the end zone is going to favor the offense every single time.
Yeah, Susana Vasquez, she is on the stat board with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 1 block. She, as I said, is a player from Colombia, so she just moved across to Melbourne in January this year. Is studying in Melbourne for a year, and she plays with Macana, a club out of Colombia, better known to be led by the Cardenas twins. And Vasquez herself, very experienced player. She played juniors, under 24s when she was 16 years of age, after only playing Frisbee for 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, who needs time in the under-19s? Who needs it?
So very impressive player, only 19 years of age, looking to make her mark here in the Australian Championships, and a bit of a false start here for Sarah Lee on the pool.
I mean, she's definitely making her mark on this game.
And Slee goes up. Nice float here, inside our angle. There's an offside called, and so unfortunately that will be taken from the brick mark. Bit of a let off for Kaos. Again, I'm just not seeing the connection between the handlers and the cutters. I wonder if a bit more cycling might help, but Brereton gets this one centre field. She goes a long option. Jen Woods, the intended target, gets ahead of Yao. Now in the red zone, can they control the frantic energy like Lee Baker was asking for? Carpenter swings across to Brereton. Break side is available. I thought Jill 2 had the angle there, but she instead goes up top with a height mismatch. Jen Woods beats out Van and Yao for the score. So a settler here for Kaos.
Beautiful work there by Kaos. I think you're exactly right, though, Avril. It's about, we're seeing a lot of great handler movement, and then it's disconnected from what's happening in the downfield. You know, it's a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. Great work by Woods there to get those
swings across the
the
bridge.
missing piece, the glue that links what the handlers are doing to the downfield to stretch things out. Absolutely necessary to bring it back within 4.
Yeah, Woods now on the stat board with 4 goals. So definitely having an impact on this game, scoring half of
Carpenter
his
swings
goals.
across the
All you
bridge.
really need on a team like this is a second Genevieve Woods.
Let's see who can step up. So Chile probably didn't quite get their matchups right there either. I think Yao not having the hops or the height there to match Woods.
Well, no, because she's 15 foot tall.
Legs 11 for Jen Woods.
And speaking of bingo, here's what we've got coming out for us. Spicy Chili currently up by 4. Some great shooters who are hoping to put on some big bombs to try and close out this game early. They're 3 points away from a win. They've shown they've got the long game.
We're about 70 minutes in. I think our clock needed to be reset, but looks like Spicy Chili in prime position, and the long shot goes up. Kabai versus Lin. I've got my bets on Kabai, but the disc just bends at the last moment.
Great zone pressure up the front of that. I don't think that was the throw that was intended, and so that did help to peel things off a little bit. Great work by Kanuchi.
Kanuchi now more than halfway downfield, waiting for things to pan out. O'Connor there grabs that with 2 hands, moves it across to Stein. The upline cut looked off. Oh, a lot of bodies there, but Lin manages to keep control. And they do look a bit more composed because Tam there, front of the end zone. That is her second goal of this game. And what a way to get a break.
Now we're talking. This is the chaos we've been hoping to see the entire game. Generating those turns, moving quick, working hard. Yes, there are a couple of height mismatches that Chile have in their back pocket that they have been using, but not every single one. You can't have those players who have those height mismatches on the field all the time, especially at the end of day 2 when they've had 3 games already. The fatigue sets in. You have to think about load management. You've got to be able to spare your players because there's another 2 days of bracket play to come.
And that was so disciplined. You know, the players downfield in the stack, making sure to keep their defenders occupied. We have 3 rookies combined here, actually. Sammy Stein here, little dishy to Lin. And then Lin just waits, holsters, takes a breath. Selena Tam, she makes that little jink to that open side, and then that little break side cut. Lin with that high release there just falls into her lap. So very well done here by the Chaos rookies, showing that they can also get the job done.
And the job needs to get done, but they're doing it. I mean, as you say as well, Avril, like the way that the downfield is, we're just keeping active enough that the defense had to stay. The defense wasn't able to peel off and help because anybody could have been a threat in that situation.
So Chaos staying disciplined and in control. So they've put on a zone here.
Well, we saw it work last time. It was able to generate the turn because it forced that long option. They were able to capitalize and swing back for that break. So we're going to see if it works again. I think that's the intention. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I do like change up. I think there was a hand on that one, but does make its way to Vasquez. Slab it now. Loves the give go. Long reaches up high. And they've collapsed to match now with the shorter field.
It's great to see that responsiveness from defense to what the offense is doing and where they are on the field.
So Ahashi with a lovely break throw. That one goes to the back space, and Vasquez with the score.
Taking Chile 2 points away from a win, maintaining that 4-point lead. A huge play, huge work by Vasquez to get that one done.
Some beautiful dance moves there to celebrate too. Chile certainly do love their celebrations. But I like the change up with the zone look there. Good idea to try and slow down the Chile offense. Cherry here just using this small space so well, and Ahashi, as we said, she is an exquisite thrower all day, every day. That was always going to be Vasquez's disc. And so Chile staying nice and loose. Chaos with all the work to do. Running out of time though.
That's the peril. Every point that Chile get closes the door that much further. It's a 4-point deficit. It's not too big, to make up. I mean, one of our earlier games yesterday, we had Fishwick United down 8-4 and then answered the second half with a string of unbroken breaks. Back to back to back, really pouring the pressure on. Kaos can do the same. They've demonstrated the ability to generate those turns. 2 back-to-back breaks now. But if they let Chile score again, then it's a 14 game. Much, much harder to do. There's less time to make it right.
Kaos doing well to get things moving quickly in that underspace. Again, Ma with the very believable fakes. Carpenter unable to get through in the dunk space, so they have to snaffle that, squeeze that through. But Chen and White catch that simultaneously.
Yep, and it always favours the offense. Glad to see they resolve that quickly without the need for the game advisors to get involved. When you have that simultaneous grab, offense is the one who walks away with it.
Taka now. Kaos again happy to swing. Now trying to use the opposite side. Main working hard on the undercut. She's hit. Continuation, not quite there for Carpenter. So again, just swinging backwards, but I like that aggressive upline cut by 2. But they get one pass and that next continuation just isn't there. So Taka now with Woods and steps between the 2 defenders. Well,
yeah, that's exactly what Kaos need. Clean offense once they're able to just hold it. They were given this by Chile then. They're back within 3. Really, really precise work. 13 passes on that possession. No errors is all they need. Again, 2 making that great cut to open up the midfield. We see it here again.
Yeah, I like that little head check to say, yep, go for it, Jill. I mean, Chen came down with it. It disc lifted a little higher than intended. But they got to use their throws. Like, Kaos can throw. I think they just got to try and find those spaces that are a bit more aggressive in attack.
Well, that's really it, right? One of the things that we've spoken about in previous games, and on one of our other fields, one of our commentary buddies, John Greenfield, one of the things he mentioned when you're talking about a reset or an upline cut, you don't want to spend a lot of time doing sort of jinky movements. You just want to be aggressive. One of the maxims I've read from one of the best cutters in the world was, good cutters don't fake. They just attack the vulnerable space. Kaos have the ability to do that, and they've also got the throwers to support those kind of cuts as well. Handlers in the upfield know where the threats are. They can put the disc out there. Where are the cuts coming to support that?
I think that one just lands inbounds, so Kaos trying to pin. Oh, that was a close bid by Robson. And some small ball here just to use the space in front. So kind of, it is match defense, but a bit poachy. And that is a nice upline gainer. Ahashi now with a beautiful flick. Mahanti finds the space ahead of Brereton.
Chile now 1 away from a win, not giving anything up on that one. Really efficient, really clean point despite a great Kaos pull that nearly had them pinned down on that far sideline.
Yeah, the Scuds or the pool chasers, they were sniffing for a block. So I like that intensity that Kaos are keeping up. As we said, it's 14-10, so a long way for Kaos to try and make up. But again, squeezing it up that far side. And then I think Brereton just got sucked in, thinking that the throw was coming a bit shorter. Ahashi skilled enough to find Mahanti on that fat side.
Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful setup there as well. You can see blading over to target that same far sideline. And then a little more float, a little more edge on that one. Mahanti barely had to try.
She knows the space though. She's a very intelligent receiver. So Mahanti now on the board with 2 goals.
Now, are Chile going to be able to put this one away now? Big pull from Lee again.
Nice float on that one. Forces O'Callaghan to track it slowly. Moves it forward to Chen. I think Kaos's offense just a little bit too predictable, and that is a fantastic bid by Sarah Lee. O'Callaghan still maintains possession for Kaos. She now works in the upline cut power position, puts up a flick huck looking for Ma, but completely blindsided. That disc going over her head, lost sight.
One of the hardest things about those same third throws, really putting the disc up, you run the risk of it coming over the top of the head of the receiver. It can be really hard to track.
Oh, and Sleeper Taka in the way, swats that one away.
Gaining a couple of meters in the process.
Nice short field. Carpenter runs to pick it up. Wide side Main snuck ahead.
Wide open, Kaos back in it. It is 14-11.
Oof, just in time. Just checking that Battersby was all right there. I think she went for a layout after it was caught, perhaps. But Slee here, just a little too high, trying to get over the top of Taka. Taka has hops there, and Main in between two defenders. Just a bit of a slip, but no harm done there. And still good defensive effort by both Jane Wong and Tori Battersby to try and affect that catch.
Now the problem for Kaos is they're giving Chile the disc. And throughout the course of this half, Chile have only been broken once. Great work by Woods. Again, 5 goals of Kaos's 11. Doing a huge amount of work in the downfield space. Chile are not going to want to give this up. I think at this point, we're probably going to see the safest and most clean ultimate we've seen from Chile. If they can maintain possession here, they know that they can win this game. The peril of that is if they play safe, that means they're playing predictable. And predictable is something that Kaos can defend against.
Interestingly, though, a hallmark of Spicy Chili's offense is that it is chaotic. They don't really have an offensive structure. It's just about communication. But Farnan goes in an aggressive shot, looking for Takashima. Not successful. So Kaos, a chance to extend this game. Brereton with the disc. Lynn doesn't like that wide look, so Frank Pitt comes in the middle. She goes to the open side to O'Day. Another open side shot. Very open is Kanucci. Well, that one is a low throw. Too low for her receiver in time. So that
Chile with a chance.
Lewishell telling the players to clear. Fakes a big mark by O'Connor. Very flat to deter the huck. Has to go side as Kanucci gets tips, but Slee picks up the scraps. And Lee now goes. Big huck looking for Lowry. Frank Pitt is not going to get there in time. So now, is this game point for Spicy Chili? Lewishell.
The far side corner has an option, decides to cheat back a little bit, taking a couple of yards.
Fana now on the far sideline.
Oh, she could have hit that in that front corner, a little bit of adjustment.
And violation called, potentially a marking infringement. So you can see the very weary legs just jogging now. No one really wanting the disc. So just having a chat with the game advisor to clarify the rules. So you can see Brereton there just clogging that under space on the open side, trying to deter any cuts to that cone. Doing well because the Spicy cutters are trying to find space elsewhere. They do get one wide. White with the disc now pointing. Having to retreat backwards to Lowry. Fakes a break backhand, but goes in inside. Farnan does snaffle, and Takashima now on the wide side.
That's going to be the game, folks. What a great end zone offense. Really, really patient, making great use of the resets, pushing back. Huge pressure from Kaos, but it's not going to be enough. That poaching, I think, started to creep through some of the other Kaos defense. It left that back corner wide open. Chile, with the vision, is going to be the winner of the last game of his second day of stream coverage.
As we said, Chile, perhaps an unexpected result in pool play. They were seeded 9, and the results in the lead-up tournaments haven't been particularly convincing. But they have done very well to defeat Factory Flash yesterday, which puts them in position number 2 of pool play. And if my results are correct, it means that they will face off potentially against Ellipsis Asterix, the intertown rivals.
Oh, what a game that'll be, folks. Make sure you come back tomorrow to stay tuned for that as we move out of pool play and bring you the very best as we move into bracket play. Our top 8 teams for the Australian Ultimate Championships Division 1.
And just having a look at some of these highlights here. Lowry gets up top, just outreads Frank Pitt. Just staying nice and patient in control. I have to say, both teams' offense weren't the most convincing, but in the end, it was Spicy Chili who were able to take advantage of their opportunities. Kaos, they were able to get possession on defense, but just couldn't convert enough breaks to stay in touch. In the end, Spicy Chili just proving to be too good. And
what a finish to that game. Beautiful put. Great find.
Yep, definitive. And a very nice spirit circle here. As we said, the two teams know each other very well. And there'll be, I'm sure, some spirit games here to finish off day 2 at the Australian Ultimate Championships. Make sure you stay tuned. Our first game will be on the stream at 9 a.m. local time tomorrow. We've got an open quarter in the first time slot. Looking forward to seeing you then. This is Avril Tam, Blair Munro, signing off for ULTI.TV.
In the name of giving more, we're offering access to more games via our YouTube membership plan.
More action.
More of the best teams, more of the action, more ways to watch.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
ULTI.TV.